Hi, I'm Chris Direwald, and this better be Power Play because it's got my name on it and stuff. Hi, how you doing, Internet? So you have asked, and we shall answer begrudgingly. Third parties, and not third parties because it's a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh party. Minor party candidates, sorry. How are they going to affect this election, and what do the polls and what do all this razzmatazz tell us about the larger election, et cetera, et cetera? I think, actually, it's quite a good question. And we have quite good people to tell you all about it. You know Sarah Westwood of the Washington Examiner. She's a big deal. She's pretty important. Josh Kraushaar is also a pretty big deal and pretty important. He's a political editor at National Journal. And if you're not reading him every day, you're probably cheating yourself wildly. Okay, here's a question. Sarah, starting with you. No one other than Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton is going to be president. True or false?
True.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So third-party candidates matter at the margins, right? They can take votes away from the mainstream candidates in states that matter and maybe deny a candidate a victory in a state they would have otherwise won, and thus tip the outcome of the election. We saw that with Nader in 2000, with Perot, obviously.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No.
Right.
Did they really affect the outcome of the election?
They did. A lot of people would say they did because they denied electoral college votes that might have tipped the other way.
If it wasn't for Ralph Nader, would Al Gore be president?
I think there's a very good chance that Florida tipped in the other direction. But what I don't get about Gary Johnson and Jill Stein...
Libertarian and the Green Party
Libertarian and the Green Party. What's their niche? Like, usually you have a niche issue that a third-party candidate
Ganja? Jill Stein's for Harambe.
That's possible.
She's the pro-Harambe candidate.
Maybe drug legalization for Gary Johnson, but they're not. They're running as the anti-Trump and the anti-Clinton.
Right.
They don't really have an issue that really draws their supporters to them. So I really wonder whether the polls showing them with that degree of support are going to last.
Right, and we talk about the viability curve. We talk about that once you reach a certain point in an election, if a candidate's not really in contention to win, that their support tends to trail off. But as the Wall Street Journal very helpfully this week broke down for us, the pool of undecided voters this year is larger than it was 4 years ago by quite a few points. And when we look into that space, we're probably seeing people who, Sarah, would tell a pollster, yeah, maybe I'd vote for somebody that's other than these two people who I hate, right? So these polls might show disaffection for the two candidates more even than affection for the minor party candidates.
Exactly. And when you switch from looking at a head-to-head matchup between Clinton and Trump and you look at a four-way matchup with the two third-party candidates, you see that Clinton's lead shrinks significantly. So that suggests
from 4 points to 1 point.
Right, and it suggests one of two things: either the party defectors are coming from Clinton's camp, not Trump's, or it suggests that the undecideds are breaking for Trump and the third parties over Clinton. And both of those things only help Trump.
So, Josh, Hillary Clinton seems to be aware that she's going to need some Republican-leaning votes to get it done, or might need Republican-leaning votes, and she's been doing some outreach.
Absolutely. I mean, her speech on American exceptionalism last week was designed to win those very foreign policy-minded Republican, the hawks, people who just can't stomach Donald Trump's views on foreign policy. But, you know, the magic number in this election could end up being 40% rather than 50%.
Okay.
And as Sarah was saying, I'm very surprised that Gary Johnson is actually drawing about as much, if not more, support from Hillary Clinton than he is from Donald Trump. So when you combine the Green Party in the mix, they're hurting Hillary Clinton more than they are Trump, and that gives Trump a better pathway. It's still very challenging for him, but it gives him an extra pathway to win this election.
So the profusion of candidates, and would this we don't know yet, and I'm sure you will point this out to me. We don't know yet about Evan McMullin, who is the non-party affiliated independent candidate who's gotten on the ballot in a bunch of states. He's not started to show up in the polls yet. Theoretically, he should hurt Trump, right?
You would think, I mean, the only state he seems poised to have any effect is Utah. He's really just a choice, I think, for conservatives who are very pure in their ideology to have someone to vote for with a clean conscience, but he's not really in a position to do any real damage to Donald Trump really anywhere.
Does we know anything about whether the likelihood of these people to actually show up and vote? Because Gary Johnson, for example, in 2012, when he ran as a Libertarian last time, polled 3%, 5%, 3%, 6%, ended up with 1%.
There are a lot of people that are uncomfortable with Trump and they're saying right now that they're going to vote third party, that they're going to vote for Gary Johnson. But if this race looks close, if it looks like it's competitive come October and November, I think they're going to get off the sidelines, and that the percentage of undecided voters is clearly going to go down, and they're going to have to pick a side, and that's when this race will be decided. That's when Trump has a chance to moderate and perhaps win some of these Republicans who aren't with him right now, but normally do vote Republican in presidential elections.
In polling, we talk about chicken or fish. An election is not a restaurant with a menu full of choices, but in the end, it is a banquet where the waiter says chicken or fish, and you got to choose. Guys, thank you for choosing to be with us today. And you, Internet, thank you for stopping by, and we hope you come back for more Power Play real soon.